With ADHD, you may have learned to dim your brilliance, shrink your magnificence, or apologize for emotions that never needed an apology. But you were never too much. You were just too sacred for a world that didn't know how to hold you. Tonight, we call back the pieces of you left behind, the ones abandoned, ignored, or misunderstood. The tarot is here to whisper, you were never too much. You were simply never met fully. Come, sit with me. Let's unlearn the lie of emotional abandonment and remember your divine enoughness. My name is Kayla, and this is Maiden Mother Crone Tarot, where we hold sacred space for women with ADHD, for our divine remembrance that we are always enough. Before we begin tonight, I would like to do a breathing exercise to ground us into the space, to clear out any lingering energies, to reset our nervous system, to soften into receptivity so we can receive the messages of the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So we're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold for 4. I will do a box on the screen to help visualize this practice, and we will do 3 rounds. You're going to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Are you ready? Let's begin. How do you feel now? Any lingering stiffness? Any tightness in your chest? Heaviness in your shoulders? I invite you to move your body gently. Let those tightnesses work away, melt away into the space. Remind yourself you're here in the present moment, the only time there is. Remind yourself you're safe. Continue to soften, and if you need to do these breathing exercises throughout the reading, feel free to do so. Tonight's tarot topic is ADHD healing for emotional abandonment. As women with ADHD, we have been programmed to believe that what we're feeling is too much. What we're feeling isn't valid, that we just need to get over it, that we're upset over nothing. And a lot of our emotions are triggered by the responses we feel in our body, those chemicals that are triggered based on how we're responding to our environment. And so when you feel overwhelmed, for example, someone could say, oh, just get over it. Why can't you relax? Why can't you act like everybody else and settle into the space? The truth is, you were never meant to. That's your body. This afternoon I was having a thought about how we are all, especially women with ADHD, hyper vigilant about our environments. We pay a lot of attention to everything going on around us. We're constantly processing, our brain is. And we're super observant as well. But we don't ever pay attention to how our bodies are feeling in those moments. Instead of just processing the surroundings, I would encourage you, and I'm going to begin this practice, of really checking in on my body and asking myself, how is this environment making me feel right now? Yes, I see there's lots of people. Does that make me feel unsafe? Is my heart a little bit faster than normal? Is my breathing faster than normal? So that we can really start regulating our nervous system throughout the day. It doesn't have to be in the evening or once you get way overwhelmed, if we can really begin to incorporate mindfulness throughout our entire day, then we can prevent those big volcanic eruptions. Just a thought I had. It was kind of like an epiphany for myself. I was just like, oh, wow. Yeah, I do always pay attention to everything else, but I'm not paying attention to how my body is physically responding. So I'm going to start doing that, and I hope you do too. In this channel, I work with the spiritual archetypes of the maiden, the mother, and crone. Each of these archetypes lives in every person, whether you're male or female, gender doesn't matter. It's just a type of energy. It's just an archetype. In my practice, I dedicate tarot and oracle decks to each of these archetypes. Tonight, we're just going to be working with tarot, but we're going to work with each of the spiritual archetypes. So we'll have a message from the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So, maiden, can you please give us guidance tonight for our ADHD collective on healing emotional abandonment? How can we accept the emotions that we're feeling and not box them up and ship them off? Not put our inner child in a closet, not letting herself explore and be free? How can we sit at the table with her and with our shadow, with all of those suppressed emotions, and learn that we will no longer abandon them? Can you please give us guidance today, Maiden? Okay. All right, so we got the Hermit, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Five of Cups is on the bottom of the deck. Oh, sorry, guys. So the Hermit, Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. So we got two aces yesterday, I believe, and one was the Ace of Swords, the other was the Ace of Pentacles. So in the replay, I will link yesterday's reading for you. The next archetype we're going to work with is the Mother. Mother, can you please give us guidance today for tarot for healing emotional abandonment for this ADHD collective? How can we show up for ourselves? How can we listen to the inner child? Listen to the emotions that's suppressed? How can we tap in to what we have kept hidden in the dark? How can we no longer abandon how we're feeling? What guidance today, please, Mother? Guess I should probably shuffle this one off camera. The artwork on the back of the deck is not appropriate for, I'm not going to say appropriate. It is not approved by YouTube. Oh my goodness, this is we have the Ten of Swords on the bottom of the deck. This came out in a reading and it reminded me of the Bible verse in Psalms where it says, I go and lay down by still waters. First card that the Mother gave us was the Eight of Pentacles. She then gave us the Chariot. This actually came out in the beginning of my prep for tonight when I was just shuffling, working with the energies. And then the Ace of Cups. So that's another ace. And it's also one that we didn't have, a different suit. So we now have the Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, and Ace of Cups. The last archetype we're going to work with is the Crone. Crone, can you please give us guidance today on tarot for emotional healing? For no longer abandoning our emotions, for no longer suppressing them, for reprogramming our minds to understand that those emotions are valid, they're not too much, they belong, and we can have a space at the table of our consciousness to see them, feel them, and release them so they're no longer stored in our bodies. Ooh. Okay, we got the, oh wow, she gave me a lot more cards and she wants that one too. Okay, so we got 5 cards from the Crone, and the Knight of Swords is on the bottom of the deck. The first card that she gave us was the Ten of Cups. The next is the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, wow. Followed by the Queen of Cups. And we have the Seven of Swords. And the Three of Pentacles. Okay. So one thing that I'd like to point out right off the bat is that the Ace of Pentacles we got yesterday is not present here. We got all the other aces. So throughout the reading, I want you to be paying attention to why would that be missing? Is it because Spirit already gave us that opportunity yesterday? Or is there another reason behind it? And I'll be thinking about that too as we progress through our reading. So, with the Hermit as the first card that we've been given in this reading, this really talks about introspection, taking a trip inside into your mental and emotional landscape in the subconscious realms and the realms that no one can see, that don't necessarily follow a linear path. You know, they can spiral, they can have voids. If you've seen The Incredibles, it's one of the newer ones. There was a super villain or a superhero that could make holes and like go through dimensions, right? And so there'd be a void, and her name was Void. And what I'm being shown here is that this is like that. When you're going inward, when you're taking this journey, when you are illuminating the path, you need to be prepared and understand that because of this abandonment, there's going to be voids, there's going to be surprises that you're not anticipating. You could be walking along, right? Doing your meditation, doing your journal work, talking to a friend, you know, doing deep reflective thinking by a river, and think that you're making great progress. And then all of a sudden you stumble into a void, and instead of walking down the path, you're dropped straight down into a cavern that slides out, and you land 30 feet deeper. And when that happens, it's a lot darker. It's a lot scarier. Because of the fall, you're a little bit discombobulated. You're like, what's going on? Where am I at? But the maiden is telling you when that happens, when you fall through the void, whenever you are working through this deep healing, this deep emotional abandonment, Spirit is here with this Ace of Swords, the clarity, the lantern. Spirit will light the way for you to see clearly where these abandonment issues began. When did you first stop abandoning your emotions? Was it very early in your life? Was it a parent that told you, stop crying? You have no reason to cry. I don't want to hear it. Was it a teacher? Was it a friend that said, you don't need to be so nervous? Whatever it is, Spirit will help you make it very clear so that you can really identify where the wound originated. And then the last card the maiden gave us is the Ace of Wands. So once we have that clarity, once we have the moment that the wound happened, the moment that the emotional abandonment began, we can use this wand, right? The magic, the power, the fire, and we can alchemize that situation. When I'm doing personal healing work, I like to really identify the situation, allow myself to feel the feeling for the last time, right? The thing behind all this is I've been feeling these feelings over and over and over again, or I've locked them up in a box. And then once I finally unlock it, I don't have a choice. They come rushing out. It's the same for you. So, one way that I do alchemy work with my spiritual space, my emotional space, is I will feel the feeling and then I will step back from the feeling and I will see it. I will see myself having the feeling in that time. And then I'll imagine golden light coming in and encircling my body and encircling the version of myself that went through that. My past self, my current self, and my past self are always connected. And the golden light doesn't burn. It doesn't burn the emotions. It doesn't burn the situation. But it's almost like a chemical reaction. It's like it evaporates. But it doesn't burn. It changes it. And then there's a lightness. It's no longer heavy. It's no longer thick. And we're back in the void again. The place where you can continue to explore. The mother's first card was the I said 8 of Pentacles earlier. I'm sorry, guys. It was not. It was 3 of Pentacles. That's what I get for just looking at the image and not reading down here. The 3 of Pentacles. So it's really, I was just talking about when I'm doing my alchemy work, when I'm doing my healing work, I work with my past self. But here we have 3 versions of this person. It's not the same person, but 3 people. So you can use your past self, your current self, and your future self in this emotional abandonment work. When you're doing this deep healing work, you can do what I said about finding the wound and alchemizing the wound. And then another step you can do to finish that whole ritual would be to imagine your future self. Imagine her either seeing the person that instigated this wound, seeing the person that caused it, or imagine her experiencing another triggering situation where in your past self, you would have responded in an emotional abandonment way. You would have shut down your feelings or you would have felt shame for having them. What you can do is visualize how, as this new version of yourself, how you are going to respond, how you are going to empoweredly act. I don't know if that's a word. How you are going to act in an empowered way. Empoweredly. And she's given us the Chariot, right? This is all about willpower and direction. So use your future self to define where you're going with your life, how you will carry your emotions forward, how you will honor them, and know that they are sacred messengers trying to tell you something, trying to get your attention. They're not out to get you. Your emotions are messengers. And we really have to start appreciating them as such. And then the mother gave us the Ace of Cups. So they're messengers, and cups is all emotions, right? Emotions are gifts, even if they're massive, even if they're deep. And that's one of the gifts that women with ADHD have, is this emotional intelligence, this depth of perception, our intuition, right? It is so deep. It is so deep. Is it any wonder that we were taught that they weren't valid, that we shouldn't feel them? I wonder why. I wonder why we were taught that. Is it because a person that cannot be controlled by their emotions is an empowered individual that can't be led astray? Possibly. Food for thought. And the Crown gave us the 10 of Cups. So again, this is reminding me of your future self, this empowered version of yourself that doesn't abandon her emotions, but is also not controlled by them, that understands in those triggering situations how to respond, how to respect the emotion, how to let it come in and be the messenger to, as your current self, be the sacred witness of what it makes you feel, be the experiencer of it. And then we're going to cut it off and say, okay, we're not feeling this way anymore. That's an old life. That's an old pattern. That thought is not true. I'm allowed to be upset. I'm allowed to be overwhelmed. There's nothing wrong with me loving you so much. And then she's given us the crone has given us the Queen of Pentacles. There's so much stability in the Queen of Pentacles. It's like I said, you're not going to be emotionally controlled, led, right? When we get past this abandonment, once we let the floodgates open, once they come into our lives and we start dealing with them and sorting with them. And this is heavy stuff, guys, right? I definitely recommend having somebody, a friend, a partner, our community here on YouTube. Let us know in the comments so we can be sending you positive energy, praying for you, wrapping you in hugs and light and love. Because this requires some stability, requires some groundedness so you're not lost. Remember, I told you when you're doing that inner work and you're going in and you step into the void and you're shot out, it can be disorienting. So really tap into your Queen of Pentacles energy, right? Go outside. In my example, I was talking about doing some of this work by the water. It's a great place to do this. Emotions, water can really help everything flow faster, help it come out of you clearer. Then we also got the Queen of Cups. So again, with the water, maybe find a lake. My sister told me that she always has the most emotional clarity when she's at the beach. Any surprise there? The ocean, water, depth, ancient depth. And then the crone gave us the Seven of Swords. So from this image, it really feels like the crone is telling you that you're going to have glimpses, opportunities to see how your life could have gone, how your life can go. I haven't told anybody in my family this because not most people in my family don't really have the same beliefs as me. But the more and more and more that my consciousness expands, the more that I feel like I can almost see the different possible lifetimes, the parallel lives, some people say they can see like the architecture of people, right? Our energetic architecture. It's almost like that, but it's almost like I feel webs connecting me to all these different dimensions. And so I think what the crone is saying here is that we have this opportunity to tap into all the different dimensions. I'll get flashes of situations randomly when I'm driving down the road. And it's not, okay, there's a difference too. Like I used to have worst case scenario thoughts where I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And just always be in an anxiety survival mode kind of thing. It's not the same. It's like I'm feeling the reality of it happening so that I can be thankful that that reality didn't happen in the exact same instance, right? But I'm tethered to that in a way. And I'm sorry, I know this is a very different reading than what I normally do, but the cards came out and it's what I felt led to talk about. So that's what's coming out tonight. But she's saying you're going to have the opportunity to look at all these different options, the way your life could go, the way your life would have gone if you did not change this emotional abandonment pattern. And she's inviting you to close the door, be strategic, close the door on all those old patterns of thought that would loop you into emotional abandonment, that would tell you, no, you shouldn't feel that. Yes, I should because my body felt it. My body felt it. That's the truth. And then again, the crone also gave us the Three of Pentacles. So we got it from the mother. And we also got it from the crone. So as I said, this is heavy work. Heavy work. If you ever feel overwhelmed, don't isolate yourself. Don't abandon yourself, right? Seek help, whether that's a trusted friend, if it's a therapist, a counselor, if you need to go to a physician. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. And we really have to learn how to ask for help when it's needed, to join in community, support each other, pull the threads of consciousness. And I want to remind you, we got 3 aces tonight. 3 aces. The Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups. Spirit is with you in this endeavor. Spirit wants to give you the strength, give you the opportunity to change your life. Because if you can break the pattern of an emotional abandonment wound, if you can really tap into that, if you can break, it will change your life. And once that happens, I keep talking about this authenticity and showing up for yourself, loving yourself, never abandoning yourself again. When you do that, everything else in your life changes. Everything. So Spirit wants to make this happen for you. I think I'm just going to hold up this one because it's just so pretty. Whew. Feel out of fire now. Take a couple of breaths real quick before we end out this reading. Sending love and light to anyone that is open to receive it. Thank you, Maiden. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Crone, for this guidance on how we can heal ADHD emotional abandonment wounds. Thank you for the clarity, for the examples, and for always showing up for this collective. And thank you so much for being here tonight, for saying yes to yourself, for saying yes to heal the past, to heal the present, and to heal so that moving forward, your life can be in this 10 of Cups, in this ultimate fulfillment. You're ready for the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups life. You're ready to be grounded, to know who you are, to know your emotions don't lead you, but to honor them. And you're ready to do this as a group, to rise up as a collective of ADHD women who are no longer abandoning themselves. I know you can do it, because if I could, you definitely can. I would like to invite you to like this video. It really helps the channel grow. And if this message resonated with you, I'd love you to help like it to push the video out to other people. If you would like, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss any messages, especially this 0303 series where I'm showing up for 30 days. Today was day 12, so we have 18 left. And I'm just blown away by the messages that keep coming through. Let me know in the comments below. How are you going to stop abandoning yourself emotionally? How are you going to show up for yourself? And if you're not really sure what to say, if words are hard, just put, I will never abandon myself again in the comments. And I'd like to remind you, on this channel, always come as you are and stay as you become. Bye, my friends.